if you don't have this kind of vocal.
Judas Priest is more or less the definition of heavy metal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, the combination of Halford's singing and Tipton and Downing's guitars,
Yes.
that's what made me hooked on them in the beginning.
What did Tipton and Downing do that was different?
If they had only one guitarist, it didn't give you that power metal approach they have. The songs were that good because they have two guitarists playing the same riff in a very tight way at the same moment.
Especially in a live situation. I mean, if you have two guitars, it gives you much more options, because if there's just one player and he plays a solo, you know, all the low end, all the bottom is gone because there's no rhythm guitar anymore.
If Ken takes a lead, I can play rhythm, so you don't get something falling out. If I play lead, Ken can play rhythm, exactly the same. And then we could do fast harmonies together, you know, which is heavy metal harmony.
I think it's really exciting, two guitar players in the band when the guys are just like pounding out a riff or just head banging together.
It's right, here's where the talking ends. Listen, don't be so anxious, man.
Judas Priest wasn't the only British metal band that used two guitars for added attack and dynamics. In the early 80s, London's Iron Maiden forged a sound that brought a new melodic and epic sensibility to the genre, becoming heavy metal's first sing-along band.
How does melody in the music make the live environment with an audience stronger?
The things, what I've always tried to do with Maiden is that basically any guitar melody could be a vocal melody or vice versa. In a lot of countries you go to where English is not the first language, or they don't even speak English at all, they're still singing the melodies. And to me, that says it all, really.
Well, I'd call us old-fashioned, but unless there's a tune, I think I'm probably going home. Any melody is a combination of notes that are exciting or pleasing to the ear, played in a sequence which is also exciting or pleasing to the ear. And that's all it is.
People say made of metal, I suppose it is, but you have that melodic, almost folky influence.
You try and incorporate melody with power and aggression and the progressive thing. This is what we were trying to do. You have all those elements, it's a pretty potent force.
They're big anthems, so I think they were very special in creating a very epic style of heavy metal.
When I started to listening to this kind of music, and I guess most of the other guys that play in power metal bands today too, Maiden has been the big thing. They have been the metal band that kind of unified the whole scene. The kind of band that everybody in the metal scene could agree on.
Power metal was strongly influenced by the classic British heavy metal bands, but most power metal bands are from Germany. So I'm gonna take this time to explore the history of German metal and how it might be related to power metal. And there's no other place to start than the Scorpions.
Tell me a bit about what Germany was like culturally when the Scorpions just started to come up.
Everything we had in Germany was for us, as young guys, terrible. You have to be and work hard and make sure that you have a job which you can maybe do until you are 65. And we said, this is not what we want to do. When I heard the first time Little Richard, Elvis Presley, a third dimension came into my life. Even when we didn't understood the English, we understood the message. Here is a way where we can live our life, enjoy life, and make other people happy.
Why do you think the Scorpions seem to set in motion this whole new movement of German rock and metal?
Because of the history of Germany, We had always the feeling when we came in different countries that we want to show the people there's a new generation coming from Germany, not coming with tanks, coming with guitars and bringing love.
The Scorpions were of absolute importance to me. I was listening to Tokyo tapes up and down. This album for me was a big revelation. As well, like Uli John Roth's guitar playing, having the hard edge and the melody.
Klaus, Rudolf, and myself, the ones who kind of wrote the music, we were all very melody-driven people. Being a rock band that was really melodic, both in terms of vocal and in terms of dual guitars, was unusual.
It's like delivering great rhythm guitar-orientated music, but at the same time having such extraordinary lead guitar. Klaus Meine has a unique voice that gave confidence to any vocalist in Germany to go a different direction and not follow any of the British stereotypes.
I think the Scorpions showed every German band what is possible if you go out and play your music in every little part of the world where it's possible. And they showed all the other German bands what could be done.
The Scorpions blew open the door for future generations of metal musicians to pursue heavy metal music. And then the next German metal band to make their mark on the international stage was Accept.
We always said, okay, we are harder than the Scorpions. That was always our thing to say, okay, we are much heavier than the Scorpions. And I think we were much heavier than the Scorpions. It was really also for the first time that the band was doing really something special on stage. Also clothes by stage clothes. In the beginning I was also in leather and blah, blah, blah. And then came up this military stuff. And then the whole thing was born.
When I've talked to other bands, they've cited Accept as a big influence.
If you look at Hammerfall live, you will understand that they were a big influence.
Yeah, they were.
With the synchronized movements. And
I remember Udo said once, you know, Oscar, if you're gonna do these movements, make sure that everybody does them in time.
They had this ballet element in there, guitar ballet, that was synchronicity and stuff, you know. Priest had that already, but Accept did it even maybe more German, you know, like marching. It gave the band a kind of uniform power coming from the front.
You get your balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. You get your balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. Balls to the wall.
As the 80s progressed, heavier subgenres like thrash metal were on the rise, and bands like Accept and the Scorpions were no longer on the vanguard of heavy metal music. But the German band that embraced metal's faster, more aggressive sound was Halloween.
When people talk, as you know, about Halloween's music, they often say, you know, it was kind of like Iron Maiden, but something a little bit different.
When we did the first, I think it was a mini LP or something, in the magazines, in the reviews, they called us Iron Maiden on speed. And they were definitely not so wrong with that, because we were very Maidenish with the twin guitars and stuff, but everything a bit faster, a bit more aggressive.
In the beginning, Halloween was Germany's answer to Iron Maiden, so they had to sound unique somehow. They were the first German band to take traditional heavy metal as we knew it from England back in the early 80s one step further.
The other guitar player, Vicky, was very much the melody guy, and I was more the thrash guy, and we put that together.
The keeper albums get held up as very important records. Why do you think those records have been considered in this way?
The two keepers can be seen as the foundation for 90% of melodic power metal bands. So without these two albums, there would have been no Stratovarius, no Sonata Arctica.
There was no one, mingling speed metal elements at that point with Maiden melodies and having some priestish attitude as well, and all with not denying its German roots. In terms of lineage, they would be our direct father.
Stop on my journey into power metal takes me all the way to the medieval town of Bologna, Italy, in hopes of meeting up with Swedish guitar legend Yngwie Malmsteen, who took the sound of power metal and transformed it into a neo-classical phenomenon. Although Yngwie is an internationally renowned musician, he isn't the easiest guy to pin down.
It's not easy getting Yngwie Malmsteen. He's a little elusive. We had a plan, we were going to go to a castle, but now he's not going to the castle until a day after we are here, and it's complicated. He's a bit of a legend. He kind of knows he's a legend. It's part of the problem. He's very aware of it, his legendness. So, we'll get him. We'll get him.
Okay.
Well, thanks for doing this, Yngwie.
Thank you.
Glad we could make this work.
Me too.
What do you think metal and classical music share? Why do they work well together?
If you listen to Vivaldi and you listen to the melodies and the themes, if you just turn it up and put it through a Marshall stack, it sounds amazing. It lends itself to be played loud.
Were you attracted to classical music because of the virtuosity?
My older brother and sister were playing Tchaikovsky, and I didn't feel like I was gonna be left behind. Like, oh, well, I don't know that stuff, but I know this blues scale. I'm not saying the blues is bad, it's just I wanna go further.
Yngwie Malmsteen would quote classical music, he would cover classical songs, he recorded with an orchestra. He was just this intense and intensely European guy. He was probably the guy who made the biggest impact on all the power metal guitarists to come.
Yngwie really established classical influences so much into metal solos, with the accuracy and the speed, especially in this kind of controlled wildness in his play. What Blackmore had started, Yngwie took it 1 or 2 levels further.
I think it was 9 when Made in Japan came out. And I became fanatical about it, and I learned how to play all the parts exactly. So I figured out if you took the LP and put it to the cassette player and replaced left channel with a little microphone, the guitar parts were more or less gone. I would just play everything, and then I would take these cassettes around, and I would play for my friends, Hey, listen to this. I go, yeah, it's Made in Japan. Is it? Yeah, it's made. No, it's not. And I would be so proud, because I fooled them.
By combining the influence of Deep Purple with classical music, Yngwie created a sound that hadn't been heard before. But it was one of Yngwie's bandmates who took power metal beyond the realm of the guitar.
What Jens Johansson brought to the Yngwie Malmsteen band and proved to be an enormous influence on the future power metal bands is that he was as virtuosic as Yngwie was.